All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Court of the Rings on twitch.tv/LocherStream. I'm your community manager, Cordovan, and yes, that was some new music, as a matter of fact. That is music for the upcoming Legacy of Morgoth. A bit of a teaser I just sort of dropped in there because I got permission from Bill yesterday to do that. So that's some music that you'll hear in one of the exploration areas, one of the regions that'll be happening here with Legacy of Morgoth. Now, this is a few weeks out yet, but I did want to remind you that in September we are planning to kick off a series of casual strolls with scenario through the regions of the upcoming expansions. So this is going to be landscape previews. They will be in an in development state, so something to keep in mind. These are probably going to be on Scenario's personal game dev build or something like that, but that's going to be happening within a few weeks here, and those will be on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. So we'll have more information. We'll get the schedule in a little bit, probably in an article on Locher.com. But at the very least, I do want to let you know that that is coming here very soon. Legacy of Morgoth stuff is on its way. It is. I know we're not too far away from just launching Angmar and Mordor and having the Farmers Fair kick off. We've got Filbert Fig happening in just a little bit. I'll have some breaking news on that. I can get you a list of some names of rewards and things. We're going to be in-game on Angmar a little bit later on in the show. I'm doing some questing there. I've got a level 35 at this point, and I'm going through the epic story, doing a little bit of leveling up when I have to. I'm just at the tail end of a, hey, you need to level up a bit point. So we're getting back into the epic story. I only got a couple hours of gameplay in off camera this past week. It's been a very busy week here for work and life in general. But I did get a couple of hours of gameplay, and so I finished up what we saw during last Friday's show. Got myself ready to move into the next bit. I will have plenty of time for your questions and get you as many answers as I can as well. But we do have some news. We got some good stuff happening for the show. And yeah, if I'm going to not have that music, by the way, in the YouTube version of it, because I cut out the before stuff. So if you want to listen to what I'm talking about, go over to twitch.tv/LocherStream. You'll find this archive video, including all the just spinning ring before the show starts bit, right on our video archive there. So that's what I got going on. But the other bit I did want to mention quick is that before I started the stream, you may have noticed a new graphic. We have a new schedule on Locher Stream itself. We brought on a couple of new streamers recently, and I've been able to update our schedule, get that all rocking along. So got some good things that I can talk about there too in just a little bit. Let's get to any kind of immediate questions that we have, and then I'll get to some news and other things. Any update on Elf Avatar updates? It's in process. We do have work underway on that, and that'll be arriving later this year. Um, Most likely with the expansion is everything I'm aware of. Although its timeline could end up separating from it if it needs to, but I think it's on its way. So that'll be happening with the expansion as well. So, and you'll see that on Bullroar for previews here in the coming weeks and months in this case. What world am I playing on? I am going to be playing on Angmar because the 64-bit server has been so delicious. It's been good. Do you agree? Angmar and Mortar have rocked, and so I'm building up a new kind of stream main on Angmar over time here. This is going to be a longer-term character that I'm going to be playing because I want to play on a really nice server that's got a ton of peeps. It's 64-bit, and all that is happening. So, and I've even started pwning the Wraith. I did get defeated. I did get defeated by a Wraith this past week in the landscape area while, frankly, turning my back and running away from a mob I had just killed. But otherwise, I'm pretty much able to handle the race at this point. You're going to be seeing that on stream, I think. I'm going to have the bit on the coffer in just a second because I'm going to go into news here in just a second. Any info on stat issues from U41, more so the increased damage and endgame instances that unexpectedly happen? I am not personally familiar with increased damage and endgame instances, so I can't speak to that. That would be something perhaps Mac Mahal or Vastin or Orion could talk about. But I know these stat issues, the ones that made it into the known issues, were actually proven to be correct, so we are not going to be making a change there. What ended up happening when we were looking at the scalars is we determined that they had been incorrect for a little while now, and so they were actually at what they should be, and so we've left it at that. Let's see. Will the 64-bit servers have this amazing performance with all the character data a level 150 will have? The answer generally is no, but that's part of the time that we're taking here with this rollout is to also work in parallel on things like your data footprint. Serialization is a term you may hear Sev talk about during Q&As and things, but that's what he's talking about, is things like your overall character footprint and how that impacts loading and unloading and instances and game performance and all that in general. So if you were to take a today level 150 character and bring it into Angmar Mortar, it's true, you would not probably have quite as nice an experience. But that's part of the longer term projects that we're working on here. Well, death and below, people shouldn't do that. Some kinships are making players pay with cards to level up in game. Well, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm sure that's a reportable offense. Just report it. I have not heard of that, though. Okay. Are there going to be options in the future for those of us who want more Wraith encounters? I don't know. I think at the moment we have no major plans to adjust the Wraith spawn rate. It seems to be going about where we want it to be. Now, that specifically, I'm talking about the lesser Wraiths there. When it comes to the ring Wraiths on Angmar and Mordor, we've been taking a look at how the actual encounters have been going. And I do think over time we're going to see some adjustments there, along with some improvements to the experience itself. One of the things that we've learned, and this really should be of no surprise to anyone who's perhaps seen me visit servers during an anniversary event or something like that, but the experience on prime time, when you do have several hundred people trying to load into a ring wraith fight, versus one of the off prime time hour fights, which we've had quite a few of as well, there's a reason I think some have had a pretty successful experience and others have had a much less so. I saw a YouTube video that was pretty cringe, as the kids say, this past week. But we also do have Wraiths being defeated. Not a ton, but it is happening. And so there are things that we're taking a look at. And what we don't want to do really is overspawn ring Wraiths at a point where they are an experience that we plan to do some polish on soon, you know what I mean? So at the moment, I think both the ring wraith spawn and the lesser wraith spawn is not going to be changing here. I think longer term we'll see some adjustments to the ring wraith spawns themselves. Phineas AF wants to know how to basically get marked during a ring wraith fight. My understanding is that as long as you have been actively engaged in the fight for somewhere in the range of about a minute, or you have you're wielding one of the rings, the lesser rings of power that's used in the fight, you will get marked. And so if you're, as long as you've been able to be in the fight for long enough to get marked, when you're teleported away, you will still be marked and you will get the reward. In your case, it sounds like you were running into a Nazgul fight, got teleported out before you were able to receive the mark, and in that case it is true. You are not marked and therefore will not get a reward. And that's part of what I'm talking about here as well. Not everyone who reaches a Nazgul fight is necessarily going to get that reward. You do need to engage in combat, and we do understand that especially right now there is high demand on the part of the world when these Nazgul are spawning. So we're looking at that in real time. As a matter of fact, because like the timer is, we've got timers in play in that, but we have some sense of when Nazgul are going to be spawning. And we do have the ability to simply make one spawn if we want to. And so we've been able to take a look at some Nazgul fights both in primetime and off primetime hours. And we basically have been writing some notes down about work that we need to do. And I think we're going to look at spawn rates and the overall fight and teleportation mechanic in the future. It is true, though. Still, Vastin's post that I read out loud last week is the final word on the current state of development for the Ring Wraith fight, but we do have things that are underway. All right. We're doing a lot of Q&A here at the start. I haven't even gone to news yet, but that's okay. Is it better to start playing on the new servers like Mortar and Angmar than on existing ones? I think it's fine either way. I think you do what makes sense for you. These are VIP subscription required servers, so if you are a brand new player and you don't know that you want to make that kind of commitment yet, any of the game worlds are free to play as well, so you may well want to check out just whatever world you want, see if you like the game. And then if you do like the game, maybe it is worth considering a subscription to play on Angmar and Mortar while it's the current hotness. All right. Well, so Phineas, I have not yet, to date. A Nazgul has not spawned while I have personally been on Angmar or Mordor, so I can't tell you exactly what the experience is like from personal experience. I want to. I'm hoping to. I'm sure I will at some point, even if I got to spawn one of those things with someone's approval. But it hasn't happened yet. But my understanding is when you get marked, there is an indicator that you've been marked. And kind of by somewhere. So, yes is the answer to that. Okay. I think we are up to date. So let me just get to bit of news. First thing I want to bring up is this is our final weekend for the Middle-earth Venturing Pack. This may return in the future at some point, but for now it's going away after Sunday. So if you want to get in on the Middle-earth Venturing Pack, this is a once per account purchase. You have through Sunday to do it. It goes through August 25th and then gets shut off on Monday morning. So if you're interested, you can find out more about it on launcher.com. It's sort of a starter bundle and gets you up and going on riding and does get you quite a bit of Virtue XP as well. So it might be of value to you. The other thing I want to mention is we do have a boost going on this weekend. It is a 25% crafting XP boost, and that also runs through August 25th, being shut off at 3 a.m. Eastern on August 26th. We also have debuted back. It's returned. It's back. Our homesteads and harvest coffer. So I've updated the article on locher.com to be current for that, and that is available through September 1st. This is a housing-themed bundle in particular. Gets you a whole ton of various objects that you could find out more about on locher.com, and steeds, cosmetic pets, a dance emote, even some mithril, and most of them. Not the lower tier bundle. This cool little emote, which if I recall was maybe the first time we embedded the emote into the website and were able to make it work. So I have personal happiness about that. So that is available through September 1st. So if you're interested in that, we are bringing that one back. and this is your opportunity to get it. I did want to call out real quick that the Farmers Fair does continue, but you know, you got a few weekends yet, but not that much. It's in game through September 3rd. So I've been running a little bit of Farmers Fair. I said, like I was saying, I need to level up, and do you know what's a great way to level up easy? Farmers Fair. So I would suggest, if you are doing some leveling on Angmar and Mordor, especially if you're kind of behind the curve as I am currently, perhaps the Farmers Fair is a pretty good way to go. But on top of that, we do have the new loot that you can find on Lotra.com, a bunch of new rewards for 2024 available on the website. A tome of the Heather hamster. I mean, come on. Who doesn't want a hamster? I wish Tolkien wrote more about capybaras. That's what I would say. I've been on a capybara TikTok binge of late, because capybaras are about the cutest things ever. So, all right. Well, that's what we just. Speaking of no, not speaking of Lotro, but speaking of Lotro, we have got a bunch of things actually happening in the next week. So let's get a little bit of a look to the week ahead. Of particular, this past week, we did our second preview of the Dragon in the Storm. This is a free instance that will be arriving, next week to the live game worlds. All of them. Free is in free. Just open up that instance panel and you too will be able to run it. The Dragon in the Storm is going to be opening to Tier 3. That is on Thursday, August 29th, starting... we'll have a start time in the release notes. That'll be Update 41.2, and that'll be releasing on Wednesday. Update 41.2 is largely going to be bug fixes, going to be work related to Filbert Fig, which I'll get to in just a second, and then the Dragon in the Storm instance, along with our other Year of the Dragon celebration, and this other thing that I can hint at in a little bit, but I can't mention until next week. That might have to do with the little promotion that we're doing related to a certain thing that's happening. So, anyway, next week, though, Dragon in the Storm instance opens to Tier 3, and it got its final Bulwark preview this past week. We were running it as a team, too. We had a play day, as they call it. We got together. I got to run with Mac Mahal. How cool is that? Pretty cool, if you ask me. All right. What do I have for other news? I do have a couple of bits of community news I want to make sure I get to. And then I will get to some of the bigger news, and then I will get in game. But this weekend, we've got the Lazy Summer Afternoon Fish and Fried. This is happening on Crick Hollow, and this is Saturday, August 24th. And later on, here we go. On this thread, here's a updated image. It's got music, and they got other fun bits happening as well. So, going to be a nice hangout. So if you're on Crick Hollow this weekend, perhaps if you're on Saturday, sometime during the afternoon Eastern time, server time, then I want to check that thing out, because that sounds like a pretty great event. As far as I'm aware, that's the only concert I've got info on for the weekend. I could check something here real quick, but I think everything else is future that I am aware of. No, that's not true. Let me see if I can just bring this image over into... I can. Here we go. We've got Dragon Fest 3. That is also happening August 24th. This is on Gladden. 12 hours of music. Yeah, we've got a nice big concert event happening on Gladden as well. So please do check that out if you are looking for that. And what's... this, that was last weekend. Okay, so I think everything else I have is prior. All right, well, that's cool, though. The next bit I can't put up on the screen. That's why I'm saving it to the end. And the reason I can't put it up on the screen is it is currently only in document form, and it has internal notes on it and things, and that I can't yet put up on the screen for you. But we are updating the loot boxes with update 41.2 and updating Filbert Fig as well. And what I've got for information on that is that the Adventurers and Travelers Steelbound loot boxes will contain new items for, quote, sophisticated birders, unquote, and more. The following items will be available in Adventurers and Travelers Steelbound loot boxes in addition to Filbert Fig. This will be a Sophisticated Birder's outfit, Sophisticated Birder's accessory, Sophisticated Bird cage, Small Sophisticated Bird cage, Tome of the Sophisticated Chaffinch. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. The following items will be loot box only. Tome of the Sophisticated Magpie and Sophisticated Birder's pack. And the following legacy items, this means stuff that has already been released, will be available with Filbert Fig in addition to loot boxes. And that is the Tome of the Sophisticated Jerboa and the Steed of the Eldar. Quick note that the Sophisticated Birder's pack will not be dyeable, and the Steed of the Eldar will include the War Steed cosmetics automatically granted with the skill. So that is arriving next week with Filbert Fig, and I will be getting a more formal start time up for Filbert Fig's arrival. I'm not sure. I think it'll be Wednesday the 28th. And so I believe Filbert Fig will just be available when the Game World's open, but I'm going to double check that. And if that is not the case, then I'll have further messaging related to it. But that's happening next week along with update 41.2, the Dragon in the Storm instance for our Year of the Dragon celebration. And another thing that I hinted at a little bit, which is just kind of a, hey, there's something happening that's Lord of the Rings related in the pop culture that we kind of want people to know that we exist as well during. So we're going to be doing a little thing, announcement for next week that might include a coupon code that you might need to pay attention to the website next week for. And that's all I can say about that. We have a little bit of news. It's nothing too earth-shattering, but it's nice, and I can't talk about it yet. And then, like I said, in the coming weeks here, we've got our Casual Stroll series kicking off for Legacy of Morgoth, and we'll be having a visit with Severlin sometime here in the next, month or so, I would think. And a lot. So we get a lot happening here on Twitch and elsewhere. But for now, let me get in game, take one more look at chat, and see what's up. An expansion on wardrobe storage. We would love to offer more wardrobe storage. I was actually in one of those Locher dev meetings in the past week where I might have brought up that I wanted like 50. I wanted like 50 wardrobe cosmetic outfit slots. Give me like 50. And they said no. But we are aware that you want more cosmetic outfit slots and more wardrobe space, and perhaps there's something we can do in the future. But we have to be kind of careful about how much of that we can offer. Have I found any rings so far? I have not. However, I am also only level 35, so really this is for level cap XP people. You need to be within 5 levels of level cap of the server in order to get rewards from the Ring Wraith fight. So I really wouldn't want to be acquiring one of those lesser rings until I was at least 45. But also, it hasn't been a problem because I don't have any yet. I haven't found one. Why did you mention you were going to remove wraiths from raids when nobody asked for it? And the original poster of the forum thread didn't ask for it either. You should leave wraiths in raids because they are fun. I appreciate that feedback. It is true that we announced this past week that, really as part of a wider cleanup of Wraith spawns, we are going to be removing Wraith spawns from raids. They weren't awarding their shattered, tattered, tattered shadows. And the reason for that is they weren't actually supposed to be appearing in raids. And so the system, it's, oh, I don't want to be logged out. No, cancel. Is this a sign I'm talking too much? Maybe. All right, well, they weren't supposed to be appearing in raids. They weren't functioning like they should be in raids, and the reason for that is they weren't intended to actually be spawning in raids. So we are pulling them out of raids for now. I appreciate your comment that you kind of want them because everyone likes them and they're fun. Perfectly valid feedback there, but I think we're removing them at least for now because of the above reason. Are we going to get more cosmetics in Wraith store? Sorry, I don't understand that one. Coupon, not coupon. I'm sorry, I'm a Midwesterner. It's a coupon code. Yeah, I take my scissors and I cut out the coupons. It's true. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I ain't changing at this point. Any updates on updates to updating the updates? Yes, I will have to update you on that. Alright, where are we doing? So what we're doing is I'm going to some caves. We were on Book 4, Chapter 5. When we started last week's show, we were on Book 4, Chapter 1, so I did get a few chapters underway in there. While I'm on my way there, you're going to be taking out some cave claws and some sickle flies if I can. But I'm mostly heading into the caves here to see what's up and continue the story, which is the search along for the Nazgul that have been in the area of late. I also have my sound down because of the pre-show music. But I mean, how do you know with coupon? I suppose it would, because wouldn't it be, I mean, gosh, I'm gonna sound like a total idiot, which is true, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And that is, I would assume coupon is a French word, right? No? Oui? So it would be probably accurately said however the French say it, which may well not be either coupon or coupon. But what do I know? The Lore Master is in fact a lot of fun. I am really enjoying playing this Lore Master. I don't want to say I didn't think I would, but you know, historically I don't do a ton of spellcasters or spellcaster types in video games that I play. Like when I'm playing RPGs and stuff, I tend to go for the fighter types. Maybe a ranged or hunter type, something like that. But I'm not, like, even in DDO, the other game, I don't do a lot of Sorks, although I happen to be playing one of those too as well, currently. But, so I wasn't sure that I was really going to dig the Lore Master, but basically they're this Lore Master is shaping up to be a bit of a nuker. I mean, really. I'm just like zap, 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 like that. And it works pretty well. So, That's been working out. I've been working on, the lightning storm really is one of my strongest things, and I try to save it for when there are race spawns, because what I'll do on a race spawn here is, and I think you can see this, right? So I'll try to start with a Dispel Corruption if I can, and then if I'll pop the lightning storm, and that's pretty good. And depending on whether there's distance or not, I'll see if I can get in a sticky gourd or something like that. But then otherwise it'll just be like staff sweep and lightning charge staff strike, because they're both pretty quick. And then I'll pop to my regular lightning strike. And if that doesn't take care of the Wraith by that point, then I'll just sort of use the Light of the Rising Dawn or something like that to finish him off. That tends to be what I've been doing. I recently picked up Ring of Fire, and I haven't really been incorporating it into my kind of damage rotation yet, because I don't know, I guess I just haven't quite figured it out. But it looks like it's an AoE fire thing, so probably more of a stand when you're doing a stand and fight stuff, I would assume. So. Oh, speaking of, let's see if I can just do what I just said. So that, remove the corruption, pop that. I'm close enough for the staff strike, so I'm doing that. Get that in. Yep, there we go. Boom. I do wish I had more healing. I do have this Wisdom of the Council, that's kind of my main one, but I try to save it because I only get that one. Will there be a graphic option to uncheck Lightning Storm? Having 3 in Fellowship hurts your eyes. So that you're talking about kind of an accessibility situation. I have not heard of that, but perhaps. Dispel Corruption followed by the cold spell, so you're saying I should then use the Wizard's Frost to impact its movement speed, presumably in addition to doing damage, huh? And then Lightning, cold will slow the target 30%. All right, well, I would perhaps, like I said, I've kind of been developing this system here that seems to be working for me. So I don't know how eager I am to change it up, but if I can remember to do that on stream here for the next Wraith fight, I will try. I will try. So. Let me just actually start heading up north here. Get to this cave. I get a second heal very soon. Well, that's good news. I'm happy to hear that. I talked about some of the other characters I play in tabletop. I'm really a kind of a healer at heart. Even back in the 80s when I was playing First Ed. Dinda. I was playing clerics. So that's really what I am. I'm kind of a cleric type. Alright, I could probably switch to my steed then, since I am done with the kill 'em all. It will surprise absolutely nobody to learn that language is not, in fact, a top skill of mine. Learning other languages is something I've always struggled with, even back in high school. I did good. I got all the points when I was in high school. That's not true. I didn't graduate with the 4.0, but I did well in school. But I always struggled always struggled with language. Even Spanish, I ended up struggling quite a bit with. And fool that I am, in college I took a Latin class, and I almost failed it. And being a good grades kid that I was, almost legit failing a class, not because you just didn't show up, but because you're bad at it, was pretty difficult for me. I struggled a bit. But mostly what I learned is that I'm not very good at learning other languages, which is a shame because I would love to learn other languages. What? Oh. Okay. I'm just going to say that's erroneous messaging. Someone had pointed out in an earlier live stream that you should go Burning Embers, then Gust of Wind, because the AoE effect of the Embers will push into other enemies and cause some additional damage. And so I actually have, as a result of that conversation, I set up my 1-2 to be just that. Although I have to admit, I have actually been focusing more on Lightning Strike and Staff Sweeps and stuff for the bulk of my combat rotation. Perhaps I should be doing something else, but at the moment I'm not. Also, I just picked up that one. I need to learn how to use that one again. That one being Called to the Valar. Because it'll, especially if I'm just sitting there getting hit, it'll prevent the induction pausing. And so I need to learn to do that if I'm going to melee like I have done. Fire Embers is better for the endgame boss? Okay. But I have really been enjoying this Lore Master, and I think part of it is just, you know, Lore Masters, especially in Redline right now, you know, it's a hot topic, so I don't want to say something that's going to get me in trouble, but I've really been enjoying my Lore Master, in part because I think their DPS is super strong right now. I mean, I think they've been strong for a long time, but, I mean... Maybe it's just because I'm only level 35 and I'm not running tier 3 raids and what have you, but I'm pushing buttons and things are dying, and that's a good thing. And usually it isn't me. Usually it's not me, and that's a nice change of pace. Okay, so I've now reached the deepest chamber here as well. Okay, so where... I'm going to get back into the... I'm in the deepest chamber. Where's the deepest chamber? That must be here. Okay, but why can't I use the Shimmering Elfstone? that's fine. Okay. No, I do not wish to destroy it. Okay. So I think if most people know, in general, I've been playing a champion, on stream for a number of years now, really. And that champion is currently in yellow, I believe, but, I've been digging my champion a lot as well. So I actually think the champion's doing pretty good. And that's the class I'm playing with the, there's a group of us on the team who have set aside a couple of hours a week to just run together in a, quote, regular play group, or close to regular play group, to just do things. We were, like, running the instance and such. Oh, there we go. Alright, spell the corruption. Staff strike. Do my lightning strike. Boom. Yay. That worked. Thank you for the comments on the stone. It's a bummer I missed that. But... Alright, well, one cave done. Let's move on over to the next. That would be off this away. Any chance... So I saw that question earlier. I've been kind of ruminating on it inside of my head. And I'll repeat the question for the audience here in just a second. The question is, we have seen Severlin, Orion, Onmak Mahal, and Scenario. Can we expect another team member sometime in the near future? Maybe. Like, I know that at the moment, you know, Orion and Scenario are planning to work on kind of a podcast style show that they'll be rolling out here at some point when their time permits. And I know that Severlin will be a regular like usual. When I look over the people who aren't really doing a lot of broadcasting at the moment, who might be showing up in the future, I would think someone like, we might see Chris Pearson at some point, might see Maid of Lions at some point, especially with Legacy of Morgoth happening here in the not too distant future. There might be an opportunity there to start talking about lore and story. But in terms of your thing about a brand new face that no one's ever seen, we don't really, we don't require developers to put their faces on camera and all that sort of thing. We just don't. People do like to read and provide feedback, but it's not a job requirement. And some people are into it and some people are not. So there are some people who would prefer to be a little less in front of the camera, as it were, and that's perfectly an acceptable position to be. But there are also times where I'm sure if I asked, I could probably get some people on, so I don't know. And you never know who's gonna end up doing something and digging it and getting out there again, so hard to say. to which chat does the Wraith message belong? My understanding is it is showing up in general in world chat. There is specifically a global broadcast channel that the Wraith spawn utilizes, saying that a Wraith has spawned. Again, though, like I've also said, I have not personally been on when a Wraith has spawned, so I'm hoping to soon enough, but I have not yet run into one, so I couldn't tell you outside of just what I'm told it's supposed to be in terms of the messaging. This is a pretty good way to level up too, by the way, doing this quest. All these giants and such are getting decent XP. I too would enjoy seeing a Chris Pearson and Maid of Lions buddy cop movie. The plot of the movie could be that someone has stolen an unwritten or an unpublished manuscript of Tolkien, and they need to hire the best Tolkien scholar investigators to solve the mystery. And Maid of Lions and Chris Pearson can be the people in said buddy cop movie. I don't know how well they can do law enforcement officer, though, so they might need to get teamed up by, you know, someone like, what's the guy's name? I can't think of his name. The guy who was in, like, Magic Mike and, Channing Tatum, there we go. Channing Tatum is the cop, and they're the investigators hired to unravel the mystery of the lost Tolkien manuscript. Lost or stolen Tolkien manuscript. There we go. Make it happen. Yeah, I think we could probably get Bill Champagne on stream. He's been on before. But it has, in fact, been a while, and since everyone's loving the work he's doing with Legacy of Morgoth here, we've had a little preview at the coming soon screen here for today's show. Maybe we can get him on. There would also have to be cameos with Mike Trout and Corey Olsen, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Perhaps one of them is the villain. No, yeah, we could have Tolkien Professor be the villain. Or actually we could, well, I mean, depends on the budget. If we got Channing Tatum, maybe we could get Stephen Colbert in on it. So. He can be the main villain. Totally do it. Trying to get to a place where I can more easily kind of get back on the path. Mike. I know, it's a great idea. I would totally watch that movie. I'm just saying, I would absolutely watch that movie. I mean, at some point you get to the size of the budget where it wouldn't be Chris Pearson or Maid of Lions, but rather people playing Chris Pearson or Maid of Lions. And that also is a pretty fun thing to think about. Who would play Maid of Lions in a buddy cop movie? I don't know. No, that's not true. I do know. Dave Foley. Ooh, neat. Kind of feel like I'm off the beaten path here a bit, but that's cool. Look at that. Let me actually take off the screen and let's do a little look-see, huh? Pretty nice looking. Too bad we're not at the beauty hour. I'm heading over to this third cave is ultimately what I'm doing here. Assuming I can get there. This is a very pretty area. I've got some dots following me. It's like a Pac-Man maze. Alright, back on the path. I can say for sure, Revan 80820, that the Nazgul spawns are a little more random than that. And we're leaving our options open, so we're not really committing to a lot of secret info at this point. You know, we're kind of playing it close to the chest here. And the reason for that is we've got some ideas and some plans, but we also want to see how it goes in terms of the Nazgul fights themselves. But we've got all sorts of plans for what we will be doing with it in the future. So I neither want to break news nor commit ourselves to anything early related to spawn rate and things like that, but... A Bingo Boffin Sarah Oakart romance? I don't know. You could probably make that pretty fun, I would think. I would think you could probably do some pretty good things with that. When will Extra Life begin? You know, I just started thinking about that this past week myself. And I think it'll be something like... I think it'll be something like probably October, November. I have some sense of what I'm bringing back. Remember last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago now, I started a pattern of, for some of these old historic items, bringing them back after 10 years if I can. And so we have a few that came out in 2014 that I am hoping to bring back this year to the Extra Life list. And I think we have one, maybe two other things that are new this year for the list. So overall, it's looking pretty good for this year's Extra Life, but I haven't done the work to really set up all the posts and surveys and what have you, and that is a very... I think the official word is crappy process. And so I'm hoping to maybe make it a little bit better this time around. Thank you, Morthelian. Bringing in the heat. So we have quite a few options. We set up the Veil of the Nine Worlds to give us quite a few options, knowing that, you know, these kind of public combat events might need adjustment or tweaks, or we may just want to start spawning them or give ourselves the ability to do X, Y, and Z. So they were set up with multiple things in mind. I think you know, how much of it is independent versus the same script, I guess, you know. But we have the ability to, because like the lesser race spawn really on a, hey, I've killed a mob, did I roll a 1 or whatever it is, right? And the ring wraiths spawn on their own kind of clock with variance so that it's not at exactly the same time every time. And we want to try to make sure that we cover as many of the time zones as possible that we can. So, just like with other things... Here we go. That we do event and festival and schedule-wise, we obviously want to try to hit people's prime time as much as we can. But we also want to make sure that as many people as possible get an opportunity to do it. So, yeah, nice teams. That's because it's 1 o'clock. And it's telling me I'm missing a thing, but I wouldn't say I'm missing it. It is 1 o'clock though, so I suppose I could probably start wrapping things up here. But I did start a few minutes late as well. A couple weeks ago, there was a post showing off new cosmetics in the Wraith store, a cloak and a sword. Any update on when those come out? It'll be in future... I think it's that they aren't available because of the current level cap of the Veil of the Nine Worlds. I will have to double check. Someone had called out, because I had received some screenshots from the Veil of the Nine rewards that I posted up on social media, and I think that that's what you're referencing. And unfortunately, I didn't get the memo that they weren't actually available yet until after I posted the Twitter post, and someone was like, you know those things you posted screenshots of? No one can actually get them, jerk. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm not going to be posting those screenshots again until they're available. But on top of that, I think it's just that they're not available yet because that's a future level cap thing. I think that's the story on those. All right, well, I'm going to wrap up a conversation with Eladon here for the next show. I'll probably level up a little bit as well. And next week's show may also feature a little bit of Farmer's Fair, because I believe that may be the final weekend for that, if I'm doing the math in my head correctly. Thanks so much for watching Court of the Rings. This show is up on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, give the video a like. It'll help spread the word of this show to others. If you want to subscribe, you'll get these videos in your feed. And if you're on Twitch, your chat is contributing to what makes this show what it is. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, and I will see you all next week. Have fun.